Hello, beautiful people. I am Chris Maddox, founder of the Wild Woman Project and Wild Woman Fest. And I speak to you today because we always meet like this at new moon time. And the new moon is upon us. Depending upon where in the world you live, it's either going to fall on Thursday, the 6th of December, or Friday, the 7th of December. And it initiates a moon cycle, which will carry us all the way through January 4th, 2019, making this our final moon cycle of 2018, which feels special because whatever we start here, we're going to finish in the new year. So here at the Wild Woman Project, each and every moon cycle, we share in a theme. And that theme just gives us some common ground to explore a subject matter together. So this one is the third in our Tiny Revolutions series. And that started 2 moon cycles ago and will carry us all the way through Wild Woman Fest in the summer of next year. So it's called Tiny Revolutions, Unfurling the Soul of the World. And our basic intention for this entire year is to look at each and every area of our life and say, how can I do better? And by better, I mean, how can I be more aligned with the truth of my soul in this life area? Trusting that soul, that inner guidance, that conscience, whatever word or language you want to use for that, will guide us in the right direction. There's so many of us who are really looking, trying to help, trying to make a difference in a time that feels like there's a lot of shift and there's a great need for change. And a lot of us are wondering, how do we do that? So this invitation this year is to do it on a scale that is doable for you in your life, doable for me in my life. So we're looking at a new area of our lives each moon cycle to find where can I have a tiny revolution here. So for this new moon in December, inspired by the astrological archetype of Sagittarius, we are going to be looking at the area of our life which has to do with how we think and what we believe. Really looking at that area of our life with honesty and sincerity and asking ourselves to rethink, re-look, reimagine what is possible in this area. So I want to offer up a quote that I love from Walt Whitman. It's in his introduction to Leaves of Grass. And very early on, years ago, when I started publicly teaching about the wild woman archetype, I used to work with this quote a lot in class. So it is, re-examine all you have been told in school or church or in any book and dismiss whatever insults your own soul. So this is an invitation to go beyond what we have been told we should be, what we're allowed to be, what we're allowed to think, what we should think, what we should do, and on and on and on. And actually ask ourselves to relook at some of the things that we take for granted and to ask ourselves, is there another way to look at this? Is there another way to understand this? Am I seeing this from all angles? This new moon and this cycle ahead is really an invitation to expand our minds and to expand our perceptions. And that's healthy work, important work for us as individuals to do, to make the most, impactful, truthful contributions to our families, our communities, the world around us, is to really be in a kind of integrity with how we're thinking and what we're believing. So we're really inspired here by this archetype of Sagittarius, which is considered to be the philosopher of the zodiac. And it's a final fire sign. It's ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter, in the language of astrology, is here to just bless everything and expand everything that it touches. So that thing of expanding is what we're looking at. How can I expand my mind? How can I raise my consciousness? And raising consciousness is not only, a great thing to do and super in alignment with this theme, but it's also, I wanted to bring it into this conversation because it's an ode to consciousness raising groups, which took place in the second wave of feminism in the 60s, 70s, and a little bit into the 80s. This was a huge tool. These groups, consciousness raising groups, were a huge tool in the second wave of feminism. You could find a consciousness raising group by looking in a local newspaper, and maybe there was a little ad there for it, or a flyer, or maybe a neighbor or friend called you up on the phone. Hey, do you want to go to this consciousness raising group? And what happened in these groups were that women sat together and they asked questions. They started to rethink, to re-examine some of the things that they've been told. How do you feel about the fact that you are expected to do this and you're not allowed to do that? How does that feel? Is that okay? Do you really think that's okay? And they gave the women in that group the opportunity to go like, I never really thought about it like that, but yeah, I don't like that. Maybe other women in the group thought, yes, finally, exactly. This is what I've been saying. This is what I've been thinking, but I didn't know anybody else thought like this. So these groups were a place where women would essentially ask themselves and ask each other big questions and become more and more honest with what they were and were not okay with in terms of what society expected of them. And I don't have to tell you that the second wave of feminism was hugely successful in reshaping our society. Rights that Western women honestly take largely for granted were just not had. Simple things like, it wasn't until the 70s that in some places in the United States, a woman couldn't have her own bank account. She had to sign up with a man. So those things were changed, and about 1,000, 10,000 other little and large things were changed by the process of women coming together and saying, is this okay? And then that was the catalyst for change. So in a time where, a lot of the things that have been going on, a lot of the structures that exist, seem unsustainable or in some ways damaging, this is a really good time for us to rethink, to reimagine what is possible, and to align with the truth of our souls. You know what? That's not okay. I'm not okay with it. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to participate in that anymore. My soul is guiding me in this direction. This feels like a really something to explore. something to engage with, etc. So that, each of us in this process are really asking, as Walt Whitman is suggesting here, to dismiss whatever insults your own soul. And what that does is it creates space for what else is possible. So, this is a little bit about our exploration. We are going to be, throughout the moon cycle, really looking at this, really looking, questioning, how am I thinking? What do I believe? And engaging this process of inquiry. So if this seems exciting to you, there are two ways that you can explore this with us. So one is you can go to one of our international Wild Woman Project circles, which are happening around the new moon time all over the globe, 17 countries. There's a link below this video. And what happens in a circle is, it's a coming together. It's a heart-centered space. People, women from all backgrounds, anyone who identifies as women from all backgrounds come together and explore a theme together through guided visualization, through journaling, through sharing, through ritual and intention setting. And each and every circle leader guides in her own way. So you're very welcome to join one of those public circles that are listed there. The second way, if you can't make a circle near you, or there isn't one near you, or you prefer to go solo, I have created your new moon retreat, which you can download. The link is below this video. And it's a guided meditation and a pretty colorful, fun new moon magazine, which really together makes a solo retreat experience. So you can carve out an hour of time, and with your new moon retreat, I'll guide you in meditation and inquiry and journaling and finally an intention setting, so that you can start the new moon cycle with clarity and intention and purpose. That's powerful. So you're welcome to either of those options. Okay, so if you want to be on for the ride, we send out Wild Woman Weekly-ish, once a weekly-ish, usually in correspondence with major phases of the moon. And we will be, throughout the cycle, helping you, inspiring you, giving you food for thought, giving you ritual recipes. That's all for free. You just have to sign up right at thewildwomanproject.com. There's a box at the top of the page. Also following us on Facebook and Instagram, you'll get daily inspiration on this subject matter, so that we're all in this process together of reimagining this moon cycle, which is a hopeful space to come from. So as always, if you are looking for inspiration, if you're looking for resources, if you're looking for classes, you can go over to thewildwomanproject.com and we will be there. I am wishing you a deep, soul-rich, soul-nourishing new moon time and cycle ahead. And I will leave you with a phrase from Mary Oliver, who I consider to be the patron saint of wild women. She writes, "Keep some room in your heart for the unimaginable."